I have lost count of how many adults have brought their children to me, or their teens, or even, adult parents bringing their young adult children to me in therapy. And within a handful of conversations, I'm like, you don't need to be here. It's not you, it's your parents. And in working with the parent exclusively for a while, the kid gets better and I never even saw them again. Why? Because the kid's not raising themselves. I have had parents leave and just take their kid and go like, nope, I did not sign up to be part of this. They're the problem. And since you're making me a part of the equation, now I'm not willing to participate anymore. And so, I've seen plenty of that. A lot of times, let's just be honest, you're part of the problem. Sorry, I had to say it. Welcome to the Pastor's Lounge. I'm Sherry, your unapologetically Christian therapist. Here we talk about all things mental health and wellness from a biblical perspective. Let's get some support for the parents that are bringing their kids into therapy, kids, teens, and you are in the process of realizing that there's a lot going on. You can't get to it all. You're not quite getting through to them, and you want to get them to a professional, which thank you, well done. When you know it's the right thing to do and you realize that you don't have all the tools and you're going to look for them, there is nothing braver. And I applaud you, I salute you, I thank you as someone who loves what I do, to have parents that are being wise and discerning and recognizing there's just some gaps in what I have to offer you, and we're gonna supplement, we're gonna get some help when we need it. But I wanted to take this time just to give some disclaimers and some encouragement and some guidance, particularly for parents that are, in the process of finding a clinician for their kid. And because having spent the first half of my career working primarily with children, both in a hospital setting and in group private practice, and it was always really fascinating to, more often than not, be in a scenario where a parent would kind of just drop off their kid, or try to anyway, because that, I shut that down pretty quickly. Like, oh, here you go, and I'll be back in an hour. All right, good luck, Johnny. They kind of take off and be like, okay, fix my kid, thanks, right? No, let's just get right to it. So, particularly in areas where you are bringing your minor child. So by minor, I mean we are under, 15 and below, right? Because past that point, and we'll get to some of the nuances, right? Because technically, in most cases, the kid needs to, no, let's start with that. The kid needs to want to go. I just want to get right to the things that we need to be thinking about ahead of time. Therapy is not an easy scenario to be in for adults even. So imagine a little kid, you're saying, I'm just going to bring you to this little stranger, the stranger, and they're going to talk to you and play games and help you talk about your feelings. Okay, go. And we're surprised that they're not running to the door. Sometimes they want to, right? I've definitely been in cases where the parent is responding to the kid's request, like, I need to talk to someone, and it can't be you. And they're getting the help that they need, and that's awesome. But there are often times where the kid has no idea what's happening. They're being totally blindsided and told, you're going to go to this place and then we're going to get ice cream after, okay? And go talk to this person. Would you do that? Would you be okay with that? No. I've had adults who come into therapy with me kicking and screaming, with their spouse dragging them in, like, you need to talk to someone, and they just, kind of stare at me stone-faced for a while. I've been there. I've seen the obstinate adult. I've also very often worked with the obstinate, unwilling teen, and the little kid who's just not mature enough for therapy as well. So there are a million ingredients and nuances, right, that make therapy successful. But parents, please take it from me, on behalf of all of my fellow brothers and sisters in this counseling field, let me help you. Number one, be honest with your kid about what you're doing. Do not tell them they're going to go sit with some, I don't even know, some cool, fun, sports person, and they get in the room and it's just this little, this individual with their notebook, and they're like, what is this? Don't blindside them. Tell them exactly what you're doing. Tell them exactly what the plan is and why, to the best of your abilities, number one. Number two, think about what you're asking them to do and make sure you're willing to do what you're asking them to do. I have lost count of how many adults have brought their children to me, or their teens, or even, adult parents bringing their young adult children to me in therapy. And within a handful of conversations, I'm like, you don't need to be here. It's not you, it's your parents. And I will absolutely tell the parent that, like, no, the work is on you, and you're going to have to come in. And I have had parents leave and just take their kid and go like, nope, I did not sign up to be part of this. They're the problem. And since you're making me a part of the equation, now I'm not willing to participate anymore. And so, I've seen plenty of that. But there have also been several occasions, and I still have some of these parents where they brought their kid, and at the end of the day, I'm like, it's not them, it's you. You stay. And in working with the parent exclusively for a while, the kid gets better, and I never even saw them again. Why? Because the kid's not raising themselves. So parents, be sure that you are prepared to look in the mirror first. Perhaps consider going to therapy yourself first before you bring your kid into therapy, because a lot of times, let's just be honest, you're part of the problem. Sorry, I had to say it. It might be you. It might just be you, you and your spouse that need to do the work beforehand, address some things that maybe you brought into the parenting dynamic from your unhealed areas, your anxiety, your depression, your trauma, and that's what you're parenting out of. And then you're shocked that little Johnny and Susie is having a hard time. Okay. So make sure you're willing to go yourself. Take the time to properly vet the clinician. Make sure that you're not just saying just anyone, well, my friend is a good person, so you're just going to go. Take your time and make sure that they have the skills that you are seeking to support your child, and be prepared to stay. Request to be included. Be part of it. If you're working with a clinician who never brings you in at any point, never involves you, never gives you any type of update, and you're just kind of out in the outskirts in the hallway the entire time, and you're never clued in, you're never given any tools or insight yourself, that's a problem, because the kid's going home with you, not with me, not with a therapist. You need to be gaining skills and information and guidance as well on how to foster and maintain, ideally, right, the growth and the progress that's taking place in that therapy session. So let's recap so far, right? Tell them the truth. Do not lie to them. Do not present a false picture of what's happening. Be honest and make sure that they're going willingly. I have tried. Right. I've worked with kids where the parents they don't want to be here and they're just going to, good luck. Right. That doesn't work. And yes, I'm stinking good at what I do. But at the end of the day, there is no ability to overpower somebody else's will and their discomfort and their readiness. Again, parent, think about if it were you being forced to go sit with a stranger, bare your soul, be emotional, be vulnerable, and just expected to just walk into that situation calmly and openly. You wouldn't do that. So be kind and consider what that's like for your child, and be as genuine and supportive as possible. I know there are scenarios where the kid has gone through a tremendous loss. Maybe there's a divorce, there's a death in the family, something really extreme, a major change, a transition. And this is what's been required, right? Or you just know that emotionally this is the appropriate next step just to help them heal. Remember that there's a level of developmental availability that has to be there for therapy to work. I know firsthand some clinicians that are incredibly skilled, and I mean incredibly skilled, with really, really young children. And it is without question a divine gift. And it takes training and a passion for that age group. But remember, even those clinicians, there's going to be limitations, because at the end of the day, your kid has to be ready to do that type of work and be able and be available to the tools that are being taught to them in their language at their level. But make sure that that clinician is ready, they're vetted, and their credentials, and there's a lot of patience. Don't expect a change to happen overnight. Don't expect all of the bad habits or the issues or the behavioral concerns to go away in an instant. Don't look at us to do all the work. The therapy room itself and the relationship is not magic. It's work. And if you're bringing a really young kid, most of the work is going to be yours. So remember that. Don't just drop them off and leave. And if you're in a situation where that's being permitted, I would question it. Make sure that you are as actively involved as possible so you can learn. And when you realize, when you realize that there are aspects of their situation that potentially you contributed to, or you're being asked to help them work through, do the work. Please do the work. Don't get defensive. Don't, start blaming the kid. Like, no, well, this is your fault, or you're the one. A lot of times parents are making the kid the scapegoat, and it's your stuff. Be willing to look in the mirror and do your work as well, and take the recommendations of a clinician where they're giving you homework, they're giving you something to reflect on, they're giving you a task or something to try. Don't try it for a week and then come back and tell a therapist, you failed, this isn't working, and I tried to do the consequences or the limit setting and then the sticker chart. I did it for 1 week and it didn't work, so this whole thing is a failure. We didn't break your kid, so it's not our job to fix them. Okay? You have to be willing to do your work and stick to it and be consistent for there to be lasting change. All right? And know that that relationship has to take some time to form. Like I said earlier, do not expect an overnight shift. Do not expect it to be super fast. It often isn't. And that's appropriate because trust has to be established. That's not a quick experience. It's not for you. It won't be for them. All right? And then another piece of advice is when the therapy is over, and eventually it should be. I've talked about this before. I don't think anybody's therapy needs to be lifelong. I think that's silly. But when it's time to wrap up, don't freak out. Don't start finding excuses to make them stay. Be willing to continue to do the work and recognize that your role is pivotal. You have to keep doing the things that were working. You still have to follow the helpful tips that you were given long after the therapy is over. Okay? And I want to encourage some parents too to not be so quick to come get us. I love that we're here and this industry is available. I love it. But remember that you, as much as, yes, if we're honest, you could certainly be part of the problem, you also can be part of the solution. I think it's always essential that you try your hand at helping first. Let therapy be like the next thing, the second option, right? First, you do your job. Ask questions. Be curious. You're dealing with a teen that's getting really obstinate, angry, and sullen and withdrawn. Did you try asking them how they're feeling? Did you try taking them for a ride? Let's hop in the car. Let's go get some ice cream. Come with me. I don't want to. Come on. Let's go. You would be surprised. I have a lot of clients who tell me, Sherry, I found out so much just driving from the house to Target and back. There's something about sitting side by side, not staring at the person directly that makes you feel like they're not really they're not staring at you and looking at you, making you uncomfortable, and you feel a little bit more relaxed. Take them for a ride. Ask questions, be curious. And I'll give you some therapy advice, right? From the clinician to you. Don't explode on your face. A lot of times kids are not telling you everything because they are concerned about your reaction. So temper it. All right? Don't freak out. Don't start screaming, you did what? I can't believe, didn't I try? Done. They're not talking to you ever again. You close the door. They open up like a little clamshell and you did all that yelling. Boop! Shut. It's shut. And someone else is going to hear more about them than you. Do you know that as much as I'm grateful that God has gifted me to be a person that people can pretty quickly trust in therapy. It doesn't take long for people to start sharing things with me. I've had people walk right now, never seen me a day in their lives, book their appointment the day before, walk them out, take off their shoes, snatch the tissues off the chair, off the table next to them, and start bawling instantly. I didn't even say a word. All I said was, welcome, hi, boom, tears, and I'm hearing their whole life story in seconds. This happens very, very often. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful. But it also makes me sad that in cases particularly with kids, that I often know more than their parents. I definitely know more than their parents. That shouldn't be. I would love to get to a place in our world where when it comes to these types of things that we didn't need to exist, that were supplemental, or simply supplemental. Right, we're preventative, like our pediatricians and our doctors. You take them for their physicals, and we pray that there are no major emergencies. We just do it for maintenance and well-being. Love that, but to know for a fact that I'm absolutely in a more trusted position than the people that are raising these kids, that's been my experience my entire career, and all clinicians can attest to this. We are the secret keepers. We know absolutely everything, and that's a privilege, and it's also sad. It's awful. Let's be honest. Endeavor to make us unnecessary. And I mean that. I love what I do. I don't desire to be out of work, but I also would be okay with it if it meant that people were healthier and more whole and more honest conversations were happening at home and children felt safe to tell their parents the things that have hurt them because they know that they're not going to be dismissed. They're not going to be ignored. They're not going to be made fun of. The parent is not going to take this as an opportunity to talk about themselves. Well, you know what? I went through way worse than you because when I was 5, shush, not about you. How about you get your own therapist for that, so that by the time your kid has the guts to come tell you about what happened to them at school, you have the capacity to truly listen to them and not make it about you. So do your own work, do your homework, be intentional about communicating with your children and understanding what's going on. And then, yes, when you realize you've reached an impasse, it's like, okay, I hear you, I understand, I'm in support of you and your wholeness, and there are aspects of this that I feel like we need to bring in a professional that can give us some better tools on how to navigate this moment. And then, yes, do your research, get the best of the best, and come on in, right? And then the work is combined with your efforts because you continue to stay present. You continue to show interest. You continue to show investment. You don't just drop off and run and say, I'll be back. I'm just going to, there were times, in previous places where I've worked where I'm working with the kid and the kid is starting to have some crisis feelings and emotions, and I'm reaching out, to the parent. I was like, hey, can you hop back in so we can talk together? I ran to the store, or I'm not home. What? Why? You are supposed to be available. This is important stuff that's going on. So don't be that parent. And I let all the clinicians across the world say amen. Don't be that parent that we have to chase down, track you down, see where the heck are you. Your kid's having a really rough time and you should be here. We are not taking your place. We are not you. We got our own kids. We got our own stuff going on. We're just the therapist. My goal, I say this to every parent-child dynamic that I've ever worked with. My goal is to work my way out of being necessary and to figure out where did the communication connection drop that I became necessary. And once that's patched up, I want out immediately. I've had parents reach out to me via email or text back and be like, Sherry, when you get little Penny in the room, can you make sure that you talk to her about? No. Can you mention that she's grounded because X, Y, Z? Can you just talk to her about? Can you relay to her that? Or my favorite is, well, okay, I'm going to tell you that. Don't tell her that I told you this, but I think that ridiculous. Stop being afraid of your own kid. Stop trying to use me or the clinician as your little buffer, like hiding behind us. Like, literally, if it's a situation where it's kind of like the parents standing behind my shoulder, like, well, you shouldn't have done that because that was really mean. Sherry said that you can. Are you kidding me? These are things that have happened. Not literally the parents standing behind me, but as far as how the session went, that's exactly what the experience was. And you know what ends up happening? This kid is sitting there gaining tons and tons of respect for me, and you as a parent look absolutely ridiculous and powerless. And they are only going to listen when I'm in the room. And then as soon as you go home with them, they're going to continue to treat you like you don't exist because you have made yourself seem like a child. Don't do that. Please do not give us that much power or authority. That's foolish, and that is demeaning to you. It's not flattering to us if we're healthy. It's not at all. It's disempowering to you, and you don't need that. So keep us in our rightful place, assisting you in regaining trust, openness, and skills in your parental dynamic. That is all. Help you have the skills to work through the situation that you guys are going through as a family, or just what's happened to your child, and giving you the tools to navigate working with them. Because remember, they do not go home with us. They go home with you. You want to have that be something that you are happy about because you feel empowered to continue to support them with more information and more guidance. All right? Please deeply consider all of this and do the work in preparation before you send your child to therapy. Let me rephrase, hence, given our whole conversation, before you for you and your child go to therapy, because that's the way it should be happening. Consider these details, take these steps, do the work yourself, be prepared to do work yourself so that ultimately the main goal is met, which is your family system, your relationship with your child is completely restored and healthy and doesn't require our presence anymore. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it provided some really helpful guidance, some direction, some clarity for you. And if it did, please like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, I pray you prosper and you are in great health, even and especially as your soul prospers.